I'm Sir Flowbojan Thunderhammer.
And I'm Teflon Frosthammer.
And I'm Cabbage Tidehammer.
And this
is
WAK.
If Amtgard knighthood means anything, you can't knife a motherfucker and keep it.
And the thing that people need to understand essentially about arts and sciences events is that your scores don't matter.
Do you want a black phoenix or a white phoenix?
Jeez, language, man. We're on
right.
a freaking podcast, for fuck's sake.
Mind-blowing experience, right?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to WAK, where we discuss topics important to the Amtgard community at large and talk with interesting people from around the foam fighting world. If you like what we do and want to support the channel, the best way to do that is click that like and subscribe button. It really does help us bring more content. This week, I am excited to... I don't know why I keep saying this week. I'm excited to bring a kingdom that I actually have never visited before. We have 3 guests from the kingdom of Blackspire. Thank you so much for joining us, and could you please introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Sir Lady Green.
I am Squire Anix Runeweaver.
And I am Meme Baron Farlanok Silver Shield, the Arbiter and Kingdom Guildmaster of Reeves of Blackspire.
Okay, so right off the rip, where does the Meme Lord title come from?
I told you I'd get this in.
Cabbage wants it.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
I run and operate a meme page for, there are a bunch of different people from different kingdoms, but it's mainly people from Blackspire and Northern Lights. And I received a Jovius for it, so I figured that was good enough to tack that onto my Baron title and throw it as Meme Baron.
I like it.
100%, yeah. So, way we usually kick things off here is we want to know how you all got into foam fighting, how you got into LARPing in general. Sir Green, we'll start with you on the left for us.
All right, well, I started back in 2002. I was just looking for anything. I did art, but I was looking for something where I could hit people. So I found a Kaylee at a random Ren fair that was going on in one of the little towns down the highway. And they're like, "Are you going to the Kaylee?" And I was like, "I'm in guard, but I have no idea what you're talking about," because I was hoping I would find a group. And they were like, come. And I was like, okay, I'll be there. And then I just kept being there. So eventually...
So
and now I'm here.
Your first actual interaction with Amtgard was a kingdom level event, yeah? Basically.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. For the kingdom of VSR, actually.
Yeah.
So I lived within the boundaries of the kingdom of Mystic Seas at the time. So I ended up becoming a member of Mystic Seas. But my first event was a KLE for VSR.
Nice.
What is, okay, for the uninitiated here, what is VSR?
Okay, Valley of the Silver Rains.
Okay.
It and Mystic Seas, the kingdom, merged to become Blackspire.
Okay. I want to unpack that more in a moment, because the way kingdoms evolve is super interesting. But first, Anix, tell us how you got into foam fighting.
Oh, it was a complete accident. I wasn't like some of your other viewers where they got, or not viewers, some of the other people that found where they got into D&D and then their friends kind of pulled them in. I was actually I was participating in a local theater group called Rebel Alliance Theater in a small town outside of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is now the Kingdom of Polaris. But at the time when I joined back in 2008, 2009-ish, was the Kingdom of the Rising Wind still.
Wow, really?
And I was in the basement, basically getting on my mundane clothes and getting ready to leave. And the sun was about to go down, and I looked up through the basement window, and there was 2 players, or 2 people that were outside swinging these sticks at each other. And those 2 people was Speck, who actually, I'm not sure if he's the company leader of ACW, but he's a member of ACW at the very least in player still. And then Magnus Heartseeker, who is a I don't know what knighthoods he has now because it's been a while, but he is a knight of Amtgard in the Kingdom of Polaris now, and both of those two were people that I went up and talked to who were also part of the theater group, and they kind of just pulled me in, and I think it was until like 5:30 in the morning. Me and Speck were out in literally the center of the road on concrete. He was teaching me every single type of weapon combination that he had available in his arsenal. And like, since then, I've absolutely been in love with the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So last but not least, all the way on the right, can you give me your name one more time? Because I did not catch it on the first like 4 passes.
He's Meme Lord for the rest of the...
Meme Baron, right?
Meme Baron.
Meme Baron. Sorry, Meme Baron.
I didn't want to just call you the Meme Baron. You do have a name. I'd like to get it right.
You can do that. I don't care.
All right.
It is Farlanok.
Farlanok. Okay. How did you get into foam fighting?
I was kind of working for my buddy at the time, and he was like, "Hey, I just started, just found out about this thing. You need to come with me. It's like D&D, but we're hitting each other." And like, we've been. I was like, "But on Saturdays we could be playing more D&D." He was like, "But we could hit people, and we play on Fridays." I was like, "Fine." And then it was I went to a couple, and it was okay. And then I went to my first KLE, and I was like, "This is awesome."
Right.
And I've been going pretty consistently since then. So
nice.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So
what year was that?
October 18.
Yes, you're the newest of us.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm the baby face.
No, it's perfectly fine. My fiance Vidalia started around the same time, so actually I think it might have been October of 2018 because that's when you got knighted, Flo, right?
Yeah,
it might have been a little earlier than October.
No, I was April.
Really? Fuck, am I that bad with time?
Yeah, I was April.
We just don't let you know, man.
I was
We let
April
you write it.
2019.
Dude, listen. Holy shit. What month is it right now?
Oh,
it is currently October.
Fuck you. That's not true. It's fucking March. Okay.
Welcome to WAK, where we gaslight Lucas.
Yeah, let's gaslight gatekeeping girl boss my perception of time. So something I'm noticing here is that your stories are all separate. So what brings you here today? How are you guys, all in this room together? Just happen to play together, or what?
Mystic Seas, I think, was how.
That's where we met.
Yeah, that's where we met. Those two stories might be a little bit different, but like I was talking about earlier, I used to play in the Kingdom of Polaris, and last May I moved out here to Portland, Oregon, and I was actually going to be like selling off some of my Amtgard stuff because I couldn't bring it in my car because I just packed in my car and I was going to move out here. And it was Lady Falcon, who is another player out here, who had put a comment on my sale site or my sale post, and she's like, "Oh, hey, come out and you should play with us. If you're still in the game, don't necessarily get rid of your equipment. Just come out and join if you feel like it." And so it was about a weekend, and I was getting the boards. So I went and on Saturday, the week after I arrived here, went there, and then I ended up meeting Lady Green and a bunch of other people for at Mystic Seasons. So that was kind of how we met. So
we just sucked you back in.
Yeah.
She was going to give it up.
I was actually out of the game for cumulatively about 4 years. There was a time, I'm actually very surprised as to how many people have that similar story from watching WAK. But it was scattered between like 2014 and 2020 where I hadn't really done anything, and then I attempted to start a park and stuff between there too, and went to scattered events and stuff like that.
And that's how great Blackspire is that we got him to stay.
Excellent.
I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good point for a kingdom, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Boom down.
The community is great though. Like that's one thing I have to say about Blackspire is we've got a community here that is very tight knit. It's slightly an advantage, but I call them spoiled sometimes because all of our parks are very close up here.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know. A lot of people around here don't necessarily know that that suffering of having to travel 8, 10, 12, 14 hours to get to an event.
We don't know how to travel.
Honestly,
I would love to have that problem.
yeah, I was gonna say honestly, that's kind of a benefit. That was
Yeah.
gonna be my next question.
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah.
How big is Blackspire? Because like Winter's Edge is 6 states or something, and it's
dumb.
just batshit.
Oh my gosh.
Like, how
no.
big is Blackspire in general?
I think our farthest park is 100 and some odd miles from the farthest park,
I quit.
just straight up and down the I-5 corridor.
No, it'd be a little over 200.
Well, that's round trip.
No.
It's Portland to Eugene or Vancouver.
Vancouver to Eugene and going from Portland to Eugene.
Oh, you guys even span into Canada. I heard Vancouver.
No,
that's
Vancouver, Washington.
Vancouver, Washington.
There's not two
right
Vancouvers.
over-
You can't gaslight me
There
twice
are.
in one show.
There are two
Vancouver,
Vancouvers
Washington. You're
pretty
thinking
close to each other. It's super annoying.
That's weird.
Vancouver, BC. That is in
Yeah, people
Canada.
usually are just like, oh, BC.
They're a different kingdom altogether.
yeah, Viridian
they're-
Outlands, I believe.
It has a part of BC, I think.
Does Northern Lights? I don't think Northern Lights does.
No, it's Northreach is Alaska and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm terrible at that sort of thing.
Geography is my weakest link.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, from basically just over the border into Washington State,
Okay.
down to
And all of Oregon.
The middle of Oregon is our the lowest
Domain.
part, but
Yeah.
we're all pretty much on the I-5 corridor
Mhm.
along one highway, so it's really easy. You can just boom, 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 all the way up, kind of.
Yeah.
I've hit 3 parks in a single day once.
Yeah.
So
That's
yes,
so
that's
nice.
Yeah, that's
Um,
amazing.
I've hit more than one park in a day. And, like,
Easy.
I need to drop this off, or I have fighter practice,
Mhm.
like company fighter practice before park at this park, and then I got to drive to this park to do this thing.
Oh, that's actually amazing.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah, and like when I started, it was like our park was pretty much dead, save for a couple people.
Yeah.
And they didn't always go there on those days, so it was kind of But the Sunday park in Vancouver, which was 15 minutes away, had a lot of people. And so it was like, that's the real Amtgard day, and this is like where we just kind of practice things.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. I've always been a
multi-day week at Amtgard.
Multi-day week is a very thing, and it's even like, do we want to go to Dragon's Forge today, or do we want to go to Dusk Hollow?
We'll
they're running
communicate
cool
amongst
things.
each other and be
Yeah.
all like, there's only about 5 of us at this park. How many are there? Well, we have like 15. Come down. We'll be there in a half an hour. And we all just
half
tear
an
down.
Actually, I had a new player last Sunday told me that they went to a different park and no one was there, and so they looked at the closest park and went and checked that out and found us.
So,
good on them.
Yeah, props to them for sticking with it.
I'm going
So
to
that
ask
was
the very
really
obvious question now. If the parks are this close, have they thought about just merging into one super park?
It's happened before. They ebb and flow.
Yeah. It seems like with some parks, people will go over here for a little bit, and they'll go over here for a little bit. It has its benefits, and it also
Well, and
has
also the
its
different parks have
downsides.
different kind of communities. Some are
Right.
more stick jock and more like ditch, 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 and others are just battle game, battle game, battle game.
Yeah.
And so,
Or
Yeah,
there's
some
OG
days.
who is all about the role play.
just
And
quest
then
after quest after quest,
Yeah.
because they have the awesome forest and they can put on all the quests of that forest. And this one has just an awesome flat field, so we'll do all our days in the ditches at that park. Or
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Just
really
like
cool.
yeah,
geese.
So this
we have such
this
a
kind of-
variety of terrain.
Mhm. So this kind of spawns the next question for me, which is what is your favorite part of the game? Because Amtgard obviously spans a lot of different facets, all the way from ANS to like stick jockery and everything in between. So again, going just left to right, what brings you out to park on a given day? Is it battle gaming? Is it ditching? What gets you out?
It's fighting, actually. It really is. It's fighting. I'm terrible at verbals and that sort of thing. It's not my strongest suit, and I'm obviously still not. Words aren't my best, but sticks, awesome. I also sew, so they've discovered that, and we're like, hey, make things.
Is this tunic you have on
But
right now something you've made?
fighting. Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then I keep making them make their own stuff too. So.
Mhm.
Make my own stuff.
Smart move.
I do not make garb.
You didn't make
pretty
the.
good arts.
No, I did not make this.
shit.
This was, I believe, Cassius Apparel made this,
Oh,
and it was
neat.
gifted to me.
Shout out.
Yeah, I like it. It looks super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Anix, what gets you out to park on a given day? Is it also just fighting?
Everything. I am the well, I consider myself to be a little bit of a marathon man when it comes to this game, just because there's really not a single part of this game that I don't enjoy, and there's not too many parts of it that I don't try to jump into at any given time. The only part of Amtgard that I'm not really delved into at this moment is Office.
Smart man.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna do Kingdom Champion, but some real life stuff kind of pulled me back out of that. But right now, I come out and I'm fighting a lot. I currently worked up to my 7th warrior.
Nice.
And then I've got my 7th dragon recently as well,
Nice.
for a lot of my art, which is something that I really have been focusing on lately. I got my 8th Garber
Nice.
as well, so Garb was kind of a thing that that I was focusing on there for a little bit, but I slightly got burnt out. And then the other big thing that I really enjoy doing is battle game creation, quest creation, event creation, that sort of stuff. And I've worked my way up through the years from doing, let's make a battle game. Okay, well, let's make a better battle game. And that turned into, let's make a, daily kind of RP type thing, to let's delve into trying to do a quest where it's multiple weeks. And then I started making single day event quests, and where the most recent one I did was Battles of the Wild, and that went really well. I think we had close to 80 people that came out just for that day.
Damn.
Nice.
And did that.
And that was just a random
Yeah,
quest that
yeah,
we threw
and-
together.
Yep. Yeah, and that was something that, it was thrown together. Yes, it was
Not
still.
thrown
Yeah.
together,
It was 3 months worth of work, and then there's yeah.
There was a lot of research and blood and sweat and tears that went into it, but it wasn't necessarily Kingdom ran.
It wasn't
Yeah,
a Kingdom
it was
level
a-
event. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was his love child that he made all by himself.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then the one that I've got coming up that I'm autocrating for Pac War this coming up year, well,
September.
5 months from now, September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which is the project that I've been working on recently that has been, it's been interesting. Large events is a demon of its own, but I think the preparation, the time that I've put in, over the years, and especially over this last year, in getting to bettering myself at doing what I am currently doing is it's been good. The preparation behind all this has been helping me quite a bit. So
Nice.
and then a great team too. He's actually my war crat. And then Lady Green is the what we're calling the infirmary, because we can't legally call it medical. But so yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but I really, really do enjoy doing the event running and that sort of thing. So
that's awesome.
Awesome.
There's a lot to be said for, one of your favorite parts in the game is making fun for other people. Like, I think that's a pretty noble thing in and of itself. I want to talk more about Pac War in a moment, but first, Farlanok, what gets you out to field on a given day?
I should have been thinking about that when he was talking.
You had so much time.
I had so much time. God damn. I've been in, you want the real answer? I've been in Kingdom Office for, well, I won't say Kingdom Office. I've been in office for a while.
You fool, run.
You poor bastard.
So it has to be there?
It's really, if I'm going to be honest, it's a shoot. It's 11 and I'm not getting ready yet. But yeah, it's been making things work, and being there for Park, and that's been very rewarding. So it will be nice when I can be like, I want to go hit people, but I want to go hit people hasn't been a thing in my mind in a little bit.
That's fair.
But I mean, like you said, I'm Warcraft, different things like that. I guess it's serving the service, the community. It's Amtgard's a game. We're very tight knit as a community. We all have friends everywhere.
Yeah.
So it is really just the community of making it run.
You have to have volunteers in order to make this work.
Exactly.
So, yeah. We try to hype the volunteers quite a bit. There's
we can't hype the volunteers, and then every time somebody says they do Kingdom Office, go run, you fool! Like
no. That's hyping the mental health of the volunteers.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, he hasn't exactly had it easy because he's had some mundane hurdles like having a baby and in being engaged and planning all sorts of other life things on top of being in Kingdom and doing and persevering and doing a badass job on top of it. He's gonna be humble. But.
Huge congratulations on both of those. Those are like real life milestones. That's awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah, but I mean, like I baked them into Amtgard. I did it at didn't do it. I got the engagement to go off. Put that up there to my very pregnant now fiance at the at Winter Bash at our winter camp out.
Oh, that's cool.
In front of everybody. So I was like, if I'm going to do real world things, I'm going to do it at Amtgard.
Whatever it takes.
You two met at Amtgard, so it was only fitting.
Right. Whatever it takes to grow the game. Listen.
Exactly. It's hype. It's fun. And then about a month ago, had a baby.
Congratulations.
So,
very cool.
Like you were saying, mental health in office. I'll take it from me. Maybe don't do both of them at the same time.
When I took my 5-year break, it's because I had a kid.
Yeah.
As someone who did the having a kid while actively in office, I never suggested it, but you did it anyway.
But I did it anyway. That's how I learned.
So, go ahead.
What you said about having a kid and taking a break, kind of don't want to do that. Like I've heard that quite a bit, and I see it. And
you're a stronger man than I am. Listen,
I'm trying really hard. We'll see if it works, but yeah, I look around and I mean, like Sir Green brings her kids out and stuff like that. And that was something when I joined. It was like, this is a family game. This is awesome. Like it's not a bunch of nerds playing their I have a +5 sort of breaking, and it's not. I mean, it's there, but it's not the whole thing. But like, it's not just stick jocks, and it's something that we can be. This is not just a nerd thing. It's not just
it's a community
guys club.
I think the culture of the entire game has grown up quite a bit in the past
Yes.
10 years or so. Just
Very much.
there's a lot of people that are newer now that would not recognize the game if they could go back in time to 10 years ago, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing.
Yeah, I hear that, and I've heard that quite a bit on. I won't say quite a bit, but I've heard that from your podcast and others and stories of the past, and it's just like, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's get Amtgard more of this. We are good now.
And that's. I want to ask you a question about, because I've heard of Pac War before. It's one of the only big events that I've never been able to make it to.
Yep.
Until I learn of another big event that I've never been able to make it to. So you mentioned Pac Wars a little bit earlier. Tell me, is this a Blackspire exclusive event? Is it one of your major Kingdom events? What's the deal with it?
All right, so Pac War originally started out as a Mystic Seas, the Kingdom of Mystic Seas event. And then eventually when Mystic Seas kind of got absorbed by Blackspire, it became a Blackspire event. And it was always a themed event. There's been the Battle of the Ages, where the big battle at the end was everybody who's 35 plus on that side, everybody else that side. And we actually literally fought ages versus ages. And there's been other ones that were Viking themed, and we had a pirate themed one. And Pac War stands for Pacific War, and we've also done kingdom fights between the northern, because in the Pacific West we have a handful of different kingdoms where if we wanted to make the big travel and actually go 3 hours away, we'd be in another kingdom.
Oh no,
so
not
we
3
can
hours.
do these. Yeah, exactly. 3 hours, and we're in a completely different kingdom, so we can wage wars and do all these cool storylines and things, roleplay and stuff.
Glitter bomb.
I would have.
Hold on. No. You said glitter bomb in a very serious tone. Does that happen at Pac War?
Nope.
Oh.
No.
Well,
not at
so
Pac War. I was alluding to something that we don't need to.
Pac War has had a history of being ran by my company, Annihilus, and we have histories of sometimes doing shenanigans and things that are a little questionable. We're changing our ways. We're doing so much better these days, but there may not have been glitter bombs in past events. I don't know anything because it was before my time. But
so
the last glitter bomb though was not our doing.
That's true.
There was not.
What I was meaning.
There has been
I may
some.
have stumbled onto the glitter bomb issue. I didn't know. Well, sounds like it.
There has been some drama between Blackspire and Northern Lights right now, but we're pretty sure it's an inside job.
Yeah.
So
As Blackspire monarchy, I can say that it was not us, and leave us alone about it.
You heard it here first, folks.
Exactly.
I may have assassinated the last king, but I did not make this last attempt.
So.
So, Anix, you had mentioned you have some plans for Pac War, and since we're on the topic, do you want to let us know what those plans are, or are these still under wraps?
There's some of it that's going to be under wraps,
okay.
But there's some of it that I can talk about. Currently, one of the big changes we're trying to make and that we're pushing for as a team is. We're still keeping the theme stuff that they've done in the past, where we're doing a welcome to the jungle, Pac War 22 welcome to the jungle. Trying not to say the word Jumanji, but
listen, that's not where anyone on this side of the call went. We all went Guns N' Roses. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, that's where everybody else went to. So I am going to have the music at gate.
Flo was looking for a Slash top hat to put on. I know it.
I really wanted to start singing it, but we can't get many more music strikes at this point.
I don't think you can do an accurate enough Axl Rose to get us copyright strike. Don't try, but I'm just saying I don't.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
it's been
eventually,
thrown down.
but it's implied and already just in everybody's brain.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to implement into this next Pac War is a challenge for the average from the beginner battle gamers, the average battle gamers, all the way up to the top to the people that are, pushing as hard as they can to get their things like Battle Master, Battle Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing so, or how we're doing so, is we're going to be putting out some very unique battle games that are going to challenge these individuals that are wanting to move up in that ladder award. And as well, with that, I think I just lost my train of thought.
Battles are great.
Yeah. The battles are going to be unique to the point where it's going to be something that you haven't seen before, or maybe a variation that is unique enough that it is going to make you change your battlefield tactics to accomplish those goals. And we're also putting in battle game classes for each one of these, and we're looking at getting battle masters, battle knights, and people that like smiths, master smiths that make battle games to teach these classes to kind of train the mechanics, and then after the class they can go out and test what they've learned. So it's keeping the form of the event as it was in the past, but then also kind of adding on a teaching aspect that I don't want to say similar to SKBC, but because SKBC is just train,
Mm-hmm.
where battle games are when you're doing anything class, it envelops the quests, the RP, all that good stuff that comes along with playing a class. So having people come in and teach things about becoming paragons or battlefield tactics or game running, or even just playing in those games and becoming better, I think is going to be something that I can't speak for the future, but this is one thing that I want to push for in this event and possibly have become a trend almost, where we might keep it going. I know that our King Cyrix actually earlier today was talking about putting in a Pacific Cup where for the entire event, because we have what's called the Pac Challenge, which is a point system kind of similar to Bridge Wars and Keep, that took the two and kind of meshed them together, because those were my two favorite scoring systems and balancing systems that I've experienced, and kind of making them one, calling it the Pac Challenge, and then the winner at the end of that will then take home the Pacific Cup. So for your pack, right? Your pack, you've got 10 people, and then you can gain points through things like ANS. You can gain points through things like service, helping out at gate. We're making that portion a little bit smaller, but we're still giving people incentive to do stuff like that. And then battle games, fighting tournaments, quests, RP. We're even we've got a point system for roleplay that we have implemented into that. So we're incentivizing all of that stuff in order to give people the idea. They kind of spur the participation in all the aspects of the game, and in hopes to kind of make it a little bit more immersive as well. So
because there's a lot of people who do so much at these events, but they're not the people that walk away with the rewards. It's like, oh, I won the early bird tournament, I did this, and and I made like 6 meals And it's like, and
Yeah.
that person.
So 50 points to your team.
Yeah. And so that person very well may walk away with the Pac Cup because they did so much to contribute that's how the points work out.
It's interesting. It reminds me a lot. I have a friend whose daughter did gymnastics, and so they have several different. You have the uneven bars and their floor routine and the vault and stuff like that. But then you have an overall score too. That the gym, your gym can actually win even if you don't necessarily do well. So I really got that vibe from it.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah. So we think it'll. Yeah, and incentivize the teamwork and the working with your company and your team and your friends and stuff like that to really really showcase what what it is to get orders of the battle on the field and in the thing like that, and so work towards that.
Well, it also encourages people who might not necessarily do those sorts of things. Try to do them. I don't normally take an A&S class, but it's 5 points, so I'm not doing that tournament or that battle game. I'll jump into that class
that's really cool.
just to get more points or something.
Yeah.
Now I actually like it.
Yeah.
You might discover something. Oh, I actually like to serve or be in the kitchen.
The other thing that's going on here too, that I haven't really seen done, at least on a kingdom level, is the kingdom as a whole is kind of taking a step, headed by you and whomever else is going to be helping you do this, is kind of taking a step back and saying, hey, we have this new award and this new knighthood. Let's explore this as a kingdom. I know that I've seen several different kingdoms, a person or a monarchy team would even post on the page and say, let's talk about what this is and how you might get it. Merrick, I think, had a little bit on his show about it. But I haven't seen an entire kingdom say, let's explore this in depth and let's do it in such a way that you're actually living these things at an event and experiencing them. That's how people learn. I think that's a really, really unique and cool way to implement something like that.
Yeah.
And part of it comes from when our current monarch was experimenting with a whole role play day where we had a big event, KLE, that the entire day was just immersive role play. And we had a town tavern with a wanted bounty board and someone who would just give out random advice, and
there was a blind guy,
a blind drunken gnome.
Yeah, that was great.
Just sat in the town square the entire time.
That was by far some of the best role play I think I've ever seen.
When Cyrix did all of that and was experimenting with that he took the feedback and he's now trying to implement a lot of that into his reign. And Pac War is our end of reign / coronation event. So you guys talked a lot about doing a lot of immersive stuff with the town hall and trying to include a lot of that immersive role play that has been kind of going by the wayside, but we're trying to breathe a little bit more life into it, because with the battle night and that sort of role play aspect becoming more a thing, and we're trying to highlight it more. We as a kingdom have been trying to experiment with how to include more role play off of the battle game and just in our community.
Yeah, just when you're walking around the feast hall or whatever it may be.
Yeah, because it's just more immersive and more fun to be in the world always.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I mean, people often there is this sort of negative connotation for role play where, you know, movies like Role Models make it like good morrow, good sir, you know, whatever, and it's very over the top. But that's also the only thing people fucking remember from those movies. So maybe there's some value there.
Right.
Well, and as one of the royal guards, I can say one of our things is, oh, His Majesty, make way. And we're doing all these elaborate and ridiculous and over-the-top things. But the crowd, like the way that they respond and think, it's so much more fun. And we're getting so much more interaction from people. Normally they'd just be like, oh, it's just some guy with a pointy hat. But now we're actually making some fanfare and stuff, so it's a little more interesting.
That's cool.
So
we're trying to keep doing that.
Right. So 2 things real quick. One, as a sidebar, Blind Drunken Gnome has basically been the basis for every D&D character I have ever played. Not even joking. All I would ever do is just be chaotic neutral, and whenever the party was stuck on something, I would do a dumb thing to make them react, like an audience plant. But yeah, exactly. But more on topic. You mentioned a lot of kingdom level events that don't necessarily have like specific names. Do you just do like Kingdom Day events that everybody treks out to for a day and leave, or how do these work? Because you've mentioned a few times just like a KLE that...
Did we all just realize that KLEs aren't something that other people don't do? So KLE
It depends on the reign, really, and the monarch, I suppose.
This is actually a thing. When we talked with One Joe, he was talking about how a lot of the terminology they're using when they do the surveys and stuff has to be very generic, because some people don't call things like, from one side of the U.S. to the other, we don't call stuff the same thing. So what is a KLE kingdom level event to you guys?
So a kingdom level event is usually once a month. Sometimes scheduling doesn't allow, or sometimes it's more closer. But
the ground.
Once a month is a kingdom sponsored day. You get 1 extra credit, and everyone comes around for that's when court and all things generally are, and big about kingdom level events and tournaments happen.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a tournament, sometimes it's a quest, sometimes it's just we're going to get together and battle test a bunch of
random things.
Yeah, we don't do anything like that here. We have the 2 events per reign. That's it.
We've done like Phoenix League events where we've done over a month long and bracketed.
But sometimes
matches.
it's just a Kingdom Park Day.
Yeah,
I guess saying it like that, I've never thought about it that way. But sometimes there is nothing scheduled, but it's a Kingdom Park Day.
Oh, that's really cool.
We have that advantage though, because again, kind of doubling back to us being so close. Yeah. And like when I came here, that was something that I wasn't used to, because being in Polaris, we'd be scattered. There's a park in Green Bay. There's a park in, was Oshkosh area, but is now Appleton, so they're a little bit closer. And then there was Mist of the Dawns and Dark Shores, which were kind of over on the western side of Wisconsin, and then Ethereal Tides and some other, I can't remember what the other park's name was, but they were all over in from eastern Minnesota to central Minnesota, and like we never did any of that. The monthly stuff is all new to me. A kingdom level event to me,
it's always been that way.
Yeah, to me, it's always, or in the past, it had been, when we go to an event, say like Bridge Wars or like GAC was one of them that I grew up really having a good time doing. Actually, I believe it was one of your last or your very last post with Broton. He had talked briefly about it, and that was one that I always really enjoyed going to, because it was completely RP. Like everything was role play. Yeah.
Yeah, we have 2 mid-reigns and 2 coronations a year, and that's it. Just to give a comparison.
Yeah, so the concept of when you're talking about these KLEs, I'm like, where do they find the time? And it's just do them more often. Like,
I mean, we span so much more, space, right? Like, was it 8 hours to Kingdom Center-ish from some of our parks?
Early on, when you mentioned your longest distance was 200 miles, up until this year, like if you were to go back in time 1 year, our shortest distance to another park would have been close to 200 miles.
Yeah.
And I think by our Kapora, our lands have to be within 150 miles from our state's capital.
Oh, interesting.
Which is
so it's a 300-mile radius, and that's about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we don't do anything
that
like
would
that.
have been super smart.
Also, our state's a weird shape, and it's wide. Yeah, I mean,
I could be wrong, though.
I mean, to be fair, here at least there's just sort of some autonomy where parks will say, hey, we're coming over to you this week. And like, okay, cool. And you'll have 40, 50 people out sometimes, depending on the parks. But nothing on a kingdom scale where we all get together, because I don't think that's feasible
Yeah,
where we're at.
We've definitely had monarchs that tried to organize days where they would post and say, "Hey, everyone that wants to meet at this park," but we're not going to see the type of turnout that you guys are talking about, because it would probably be towards the center of our kingdom. We have several groups around there, and it's still a drive. I mean, Middle Tennessee to there is going to be 3 hours, would you say?
Right.
Actually, no, that's not. The center of our kingdom is in Georgia, isn't it?
Well, that's our kingdom seat, right?
Yeah, okay.
But
Oh, that's right, because Kazan was our king whenever I forgot about that. Thanks, Kazan.
I don't necessarily think it's his fault, but yeah, sure. So I want to dig in a little bit, because one of the things we're doing here is we're trying to learn about the different kingdoms and how they operate. And already there's a ton of stuff that's just different about Blackspire from us.
Better about Blackspire.
Honestly.
I mean, honestly, I like a lot of it.
I think we're smaller, though. I think our numbers are a lot smaller.
Yeah.
I mean,
number of participants.
Yeah.
But but that we also cross-contaminate a lot, so our numbers are. We go everywhere. So when you look at the org for like how many people are going to one park, it's tons of people from other parks too on the regular.
So we have a lot of cross travel, and we do a lot of raids. Like one park, we're all just going to meet at this other park, and then all of a sudden it's twice as many people at one park.
Yeah, you go
Based
5.5 blocks up.
Yeah,
exactly, precisely.
Based on the numbers, though, we're not too far off of the average, because we've got how many kingdoms now?
22.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So like, unique sign-ins, Amtgard has had close to 50,000 over the last year. So, dividing that by 22, I mean that's roughly about what we set at, is about between 2,000 and 2,300 unique sign-ins. So I mean we're not entirely too far off the average. So.
Interesting.
Someone spends too much time on the org.
I do.
Size isn't really the main indicator here, right? We could have an argument about quantity versus quality, and I'm sure we could find a reasonable argument on either side. But it's just interesting to see how a different kingdom, on the West Coast works compared to ours. Because I mean, we don't do KLEs like that. We've never heard of that, so it's super cool. But one of the things that's also kind of standing out to me, aside from like the communication and everything else, is just sort of like how you are all on board. And maybe it's just because the three of you are particularly good representatives of your kingdom, right? But you all seem super on board with the events and the way that things are run, and it seems kind of interesting. Is that level of cohesion present throughout Blackspire? I mean, this is a difficult question, right? But like, how politically factionated is your kingdom? Factionated?
I mean,
we definitely have our factions and our
Yes. Perfect. That's
everywhere. There's always a differing of how things should be ran or how things are ran. I mean, but for the most part, I mean, we, from what I've seen over the last year being here, is there's a lot of people that just generally either we're very open about being or having an opinion together, or we're just completely against it. There's two extremes. There's really, not entirely too much drama when it comes to like the technical stuff of Amtgard, but
Well, like any kind of sports league, there are going to be teams within the league.
Right.
Some teams get along with other teams, and you just know to steer clear of those guys or something.
Right.
But I think for the most part, we as a kingdom have decided that all the teams need to work together as a team if we are going to survive.
Really, I don't think any of that is stopping anyone else's progression. I think there's plenty enough of I hate that guy. Here's his next order.
Right.
But that's the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely the way to do it. Is I don't have to like you. I can still acknowledge and respect the work that you have put into it.
Yeah, and so as much as we do have the factions and the political this and that.
Yeah.
I don't think it really gets in the way of anything or is that toxic to the. Some people are like, I don't want to deal with it at all, and some people are like, this is what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So I think that's just another. I guess to your earlier question, I get up and go to Amtgard for politics.
Hey, no, you and I are on the same page, man. I publicly announced a long time ago that I'm a member of the Secret Cabal and its president, and everything has just been hill since then.
Hill. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily like, hey, call out your political rivals, but just interesting to know, like, does this group, because it's smaller, have a big faction thing or no? It's just always kind of interesting to find out.
I think actually right now the biggest rift is the new way of thinking versus old guard.
Yeah,
like,
that's
we're getting rid of the gatekeeping. We're just getting rid of the gatekeeping, and we're acknowledging everyone for all of their accomplishments. It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. And we get a lot of backlash from what I call ghosts, people who don't necessarily show up until something is going not the way they like.
It's so accurate too.
Exactly.
So on a scale of Polaris to Rising Winds, with Rising Winds being the most political kingdom that I've ever visited in my
guess
life.
From Rising Winds now. God damn it.
Hey, I'm sorry, Rising Winds. Do better.
I'm gonna go mark Rising Winds off of our fucking boards. We can just call that one along.
It's already marked off.
Is it really?
Yeah, we did our guests from there.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Rising Winds. Just motherfuck them all you want now, I guess. It's fine.
I'm not motherfucking them. This is just a fact.
Okay.
You guys, the guests that came on self-promoted the fact that they're a super political kingdom. So, but no, I definitely feel where you're coming from. We've actually, Winter's Edge has been going through a little bit of what I'll call a renaissance period too, where we've had a lot of people getting acknowledged on a much grander scale than they were before. And that wasn't buzzword bingo. That is an accurate description of what's been going on.
Yeah.
A lot more awards going out. A lot of the older thought of, well, you're good enough to get this level of award, but you haven't been in at least fill in the blank amount of time. That mentality is starting to drift away. Amongst ourselves, we talk quite a bit about Lightning's report that she put out on the average length of an Amtgarder, and started asking ourselves some hard questions, like
5'8", 5'9".
I literally went to the same place too, and I hate it.
You two need to get out of the drift. But yeah, if somebody's only going to stay in the game on average, I think it was 2.5 years to
three or four, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Then should knighthood be a reasonably achievable award in that amount of time? Or should it be 1 year over that amount of time? These are questions that we can ask ourselves, and there's a lot of different schools of thought on where that should go. But I don't think Kingdoms were asking the right questions before, and I love to hear that. I'm going to say you guys are just doing the right thing because it's what we're doing, and kind of moving towards something that makes the game more achievable. I almost want to say more accessible, but that word has some very specific meanings attached to it.
Approachable.
So
the word you're looking for is approachable.
It's more like you get your knighthood before you've approached burnout.
Yeah.
Because we so often, here you go, have your knighthood, and they're like, cool.
Yeah.
Bye.
How's the SCA later?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Especially up here.
No, I think all that is on an individual basis too. Like you've got a player that comes out and puts maximum effort into things, and myself, there's only been one thing I've been burnt out at, and that's sewing. I can't look at my sewing machine right now. Fuck that thing. But really, on an individual level, it's just you start to approach burnout at different levels, and if someone's putting in a maximum amount of effort and they're doing a lot of great things, I don't think that if someone does the work to get to a 10 or masterhood in a year, year and a half, 2 years, whatever time span that is that takes them, that should not hold them back from being able to actually get that masterhood or get that 10.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I think that we're starting to see that change. The order of the battle was, there's been a big thing for us recently as far as awards we've been handing out. We have or a few handfuls of people that have got their 8s. I would
A couple.
a few handfuls. So a handful being 5. So maybe, I don't know, probably between 10 and 20. I don't know the exact numbers, but
I know. I would know. I get
you would know. You gave them out.
We kind of came to the conclusion, along with others, that Paragon was 8, and so we did get a lot of 8s shotgunned out.
That's
and then finding the range from there and beyond, above and below, was very interesting.
That's where we're actually, as a kingdom, in a way, struggling as well, to some degree, right? Like, it's a weird thing, right? Like, it gets blasted, and then it's kind of a retroactive look, but I think you guys are much older than us, because I don't remember when Blackspire's got their kingdom status. But like for a newer-ish kingdom, it's kind of weird.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I knew it was somewhere in there because I remember playing and hearing, Blackspire got kingdom at some time, and I don't remember when because it was a billion years ago, it feels like.
Yeah, before that it was Mystic Seas, so...
Yeah, weren't you the ones that when you got your kingdom status, like the full name was something like the skeletons rise up and murder people and do, like this, the name on the scroll was this long?
The what is it? The Valley of the Blackspire, where the bloody skeletons will ride us up and kick your ass.
Yes.
Something along those lines.
I thought it was murder you in your sleep.
Shit.
And then it didn't get changed, but it wasn't ever acknowledged again officially.
Very long time.
That comes up every now and then. Actually, this is our official our tablecloth for court and high table and stuff like that. And there are bloody skeletons on it. You can't see
that's
it.
cool.
We don't have a tablecloth. We should get a tablecloth.
We've got a nice table.
We don't have a tablecloth.
Oh my god. I think we did try a tablecloth, didn't we?
We did.
We got too
You
much
guys
crap.
might know Master Garber.
Yeah.
It could be.
We can't be trusted with tablecloth.
So, sorry to get us all kind of back on topic here. There's a couple of things we want to cap off here. But first is we're getting to the point in the show where we try to get a fun, memorable, crazy, awesome Amtgard story from you. Think back to all of your Amtgard history and that craziest moment, and we'll go left to right. But if we need to buy some time, I have another topic that we can kind of vamp on if you need to think.
Yeah, buy some time.
Okay,
so
I've got stories for days.
For a lot of our viewers, we'll change topic for a second. We'll come back to it just so everybody can sort of lock in their story. But for a lot of our viewers, noticing you guys have some pretty professional looking equipment here, and it looks like you guys are going to be starting a show at some point. And we talked about this a little bit. I don't want to force you guys onto a timeline, but can you tell us about what you're going to be doing and once you guys, because this episode will come out in a couple of weeks, maybe even a month. Is there a place where we can point people to sort of look at what you're doing?
At this point, really, I mean, because me and him, I think are
the ones
headlining it. I wasn't sure if you were. Yeah,
we'll drag her on to the first time to just be like, "Our night."
Yeah. So,
which I will just be a guest because I don't do
this then. Surprising. Do this then. When you guys have a little bit more information about it, come back to this video and post it in the comments. So everybody, whenever you're listening to this, check the comments for the video, and it'll have some more information about whenever they get started. But yeah, I'd love to hear some more. Do you know in general what you're going to want to talk about? Is it going to be kind of a talk show like ours, or?
I think talk show meets interviews.
Personally, I want to do some live stuff where we're going out to events and talking to say the winner of a tournament or whatever, ask him what he's seen, ask him what was the biggest challenge in it, that sort of thing, kind of getting in the face of the stuff that's going on, and not necessarily just constantly sitting and doing just a regular talk show stuff. So kind of mix it up and maybe throw that in between and then kind of talk about what happened there, and maybe even have some of the people that we interviewed live on as guests as well. So I think I've had a little bit of time to think about kind of where I want to lead it, but I mean, this is a 50-50 thing, so we're kind of, we're still in debates, but.
No, I like the man on the street level reporting. I like that. That's cool.
We had at one point we had dreams of doing that, and I think collectively we've all decided we're too stupid to do anything live.
Look at us.
Godspeed. And I do look forward to that.
I talk a lot, so it's perfect for me.
It's a great type of content to have that I think we're missing. But we love it when anybody else comes up in this sort of like, I guess, Amtgard media, although that sounds dumb as hell to say. But like Kingdom of Kodiak, everything that Hogman's doing, we look forward to what you guys are going to do as well. I just wanted to kind of float that out there because I know we had talked about it a little bit. Now,
appreciate that.
That's as much time as I'm going to buy you. Amtgard stories. Lady Green, we will start with you because you are on the left from where we are.
Hey,
golly.
It's okay if your answer is I can't think of a story too.
That's legally
not for our listeners.
It's not so much a story, but just things that have happened at Pac Wars before. How about
Which
that?
one? Yeah.
Okay, so my first Pac War was Pac War 4, which was the War of the Ages, where one of the older gentlemen did come out with a full-on amped legal walker and was just picking it up and bashing people with it.
We need this for Stinkfoot.
An Amtgard walker was hilarious. And then the next year at Pac War 5 at Fort Flagler, where we were watching the submarines just leaving the Puget Sound.
Oh, shit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So Pac War, it's a pretty cool event. You should check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, while we're talking about Amtgard legal props, if anybody has an idea for an Amtgard legal folding chair, I need you to reach out to us. I have plans.
For no specific reason at all.
None at all. Anix, crazy story, go.
Okay, so this was back in my attempting to start a park days, and it was because I had moved back up north into Superior Duluth area, and at the time, while everything was running smoothly, we had about 12, sometimes 14, 15 people coming out, and so we had a good start. It came to a deafening halt on the worst day. We had gotten this new site locked down and everything, and we had been out there on property that my parents actually had owned, and I invited quite a few, I want to say high profile, but I mean, Amtgard came up,
Nice.
Sir Raphael came up, I believe, I can't remember if he had Merrick with him or not. Amtgard had Merrick with him or not, but there was a bunch of people. Sir Lily Sunshine as well, or Death Lily nowadays.
Lily's great.
Yeah. Great guy. But all those guys came up and they were going to kind of, first day this park, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get there, I'm there. Not a single person that was coming out before had come out for the park day. So they had traveled like 5 or 6 hours to come up and see us open this up for on this new property and stuff, and kind of participate in our park to kind of help us out. And it was a flop. And it was slightly embarrassing to me, but I mean, at the same time, after my years of Amtgard, it's just been, that thought in my mind is, well, shit happens. But so went back to the drawing board, never actually started another park again. I'd done stuff with friends outside of Amtgard. So I could probably do it, now with a little bit better and more dependable crew, but
you can move 20 miles away and make another park.
Yeah, right. No, like we need any more
50 miles of Salem.
But that's one of my crazy stories. Probably one of my favorite memories was back at Bridge Wars 20. Can't remember, if it was 2011 or 2013. But the first people in Amtgard, the first time it was 2013 because it was the first year I was able to drink, and
Legally.
Yeah, I know.
Emphasis.
Legally, exactly. I mean, I grew up in Wisconsin, so I was drinking at 13.
At events.
No, yeah,
At events.
It's the only way he can make it through the cold winters.
Right. Yeah. But the first Bridge Wars I ever went to, I was kind of shunned by Saracens, and then the first year I could drink, they were all buddy with me, and it was awesome. So that was a fun weekend. Right? Yeah, I mean,
it's good to hear that Saracens are the same no matter where you go.
everywhere.
Yeah. And we have them. We got some around. Not in our kingdom, but up north.
Well, we had to.
One moved down, right?
Yeah.
I think one moved down. Anyway.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Farlanok, your turn. You've had the most time. We expect you to have the best story.
Yeah, I guess nothing super cool. I mean, the biggest one is I proposed in the middle before court.
Hey, Doc, that's an awesome story. Tell that one.
Yeah. Okay. So before court, but after. Words are hard. I'm sorry. During feast, but before court, I held like a bardic entertainment. So we had a couple people come up and do performances and sing some songs, do some Shakespeare. My man-at-arms played piano.
Blew it out of the water.
Shout out to Dragon Master.
Nice.
He also won Dragon Master that
with Bardic.
With Bardic.
So Dragon Master was a Dragon Master?
Yes.
Yes. And so he played, and then I did a couple monologues. And for my third performance was going to be a song. I was going to sing what is traditionally a love song, but I was going to be like, this is to, Amtgard and Blackspire and all of you, I love you. And then in the middle of it, I was just going to propose to her. But the audio didn't work. And so I just said, screw it. I'm just going to do this. And I beelined it to her and proposed. And everyone was just like, yay.
That's awesome.
There's a video of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really
so that
cool.
was pretty fun. I also, a fun thing I like to, a little funny thing is the happiest day of, it doesn't apply now. Damn
I
it.
was going to say, you just had a kid, so like.
Before that.
The happiest day of my life was when I was offered, I was a prospect for the fighting company I'm going to.
Oh,
But that's all. But that's because that was the day that I heard my daughter's heartbeat for the first time. It was just the same day.
Yeah.
So,
Nuts, yeah.
I usually leave that last half of that off when I talk to people of that company. But that's something I like that. But yeah.
No, that's a crazy.
I once got hit in both knees with the same arrow. Like, boom, boom. That still blows my mind. Still blows my mind. But yeah, that's it for me.
Well, cool. Hey, I want to thank all of you for coming on. Thank you again to all of Blackspire as well. You sound like a really fun kingdom to visit. I'm going to say, usually we'll ask, what event should I go to if I only get to go to one event? But I think that I can answer that. I think I should go to Pac War. So could you tell me when Pac War is going to be?
Yeah, Pac War is September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Right.
And it's going to be in Sandy, Oregon at a Oral Hall Park. It's actually a school or like retreat for the blind. But it's an absolute excellent site. We lucked out and got a really good site this time.
Is prepay open?
Yes, prepay is open. You can find that on the Pac War page.
Which we'll link in the description below.
Send us a link. We'll put it in the description down below.
Cool. Cool. Yep.
It also has all the information for the Pack Challenge, a bunch of the other things that are going on.
Yep. Things like dorm bidding, because that's one thing that we're doing is we've got like an open auction going where people can bid on dorms and over the price of entry and all that. So that way they can get a private room that has a key that they can lock their stuff in. Has hot tub access for the weekend, which is really nice.
Fucking what?
Yeah,
There's hot tubs at this bitch?
Yes.
September
Like I said, I got a
1st,
really good
2nd,
site.
and
Patreons, give us your money, please, God, Patreons. We need to go to the thing.
Remember this year is not going to be a bear pit. It's going to be a dolphin pit.
Yeah, and we are also doing a dolphin pit.
How is that different? Hey, hold on. How is dolphin pit different?
A dolphin pit. No. A dolphin pit is a bear pit with a porpoise.
You got to shave off all your
I'll go.
hairs. You will be very slippery.
No, but the event's going to be great. We got a great site. The quest line that we're working up is going to be absolutely fantastic. There's going to be also some things in there that people haven't seen as well, like some things that I haven't even seen, and I'm hoping go well. That might include a water scene. So like we have a pond we can use.
Interesting.
And something with a boat, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of battle games and tournaments and Ithras and things like that.
There's
actually a Facebook page for it, or is it group or a page? There's a difference.
There's a page, yeah.
There's
for Pac War.
So all of that's going to be available on there. You can also find that on the Kingdom of Blackspire page.
Okay.
All that information is there as well.
Yeah.
There's also going to be 2 nightings.
Excellent.
To kind of touch on what he was talking about.
I didn't think we could say that.
I can say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Nightings. Yeah. So those are going to be pretty good ones because the people that it's enveloping are really close friends of mine. So I think of all of ours.
Two first-time belts.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
So 2 squires are being elevated.
Excellent.
Very cool.
So yeah, with all that being said, I kind of wanted to throw something in here at the end, because we're trying to get flowing the challenge of or the challenging battle games into Pac War as something that's a staple for our event. I would like to personally challenge every battle knight, every aspiring battle knight, every battle master, and player that thinks they're good on the battlefield to come out and test not only Blackspire but every other player that's going to come out and try to win the Pac Challenge and participate in our battle games and that sort of thing. I know right now we've got 10 warlords coming out at least.
Damn.
And that number is only getting bigger. We've got a couple of really good people that are going to be teaching classes already. I haven't gotten a stapled down yes from Lily Sunshine, but we had talked about him earlier, and he's looking at coming out and teaching one of our classes, and then Sir Raven as well. So she's one that's been in talks. So.
That's fantastic, guys. We will link all of that in the comments down below so people can find that info. It sounds like the gauntlet has been thrown to all of those battle knights and aspiring battle masters, so that'll be interesting to see. We might have like a follow-up too once you guys have done the event.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, just see how it went.
All right, Flo, do you have anything else for us before I roll this outro?
Just one thing. I want to give an extra special thank you to all of our Patreons and everyone who's supported. If you want to become a Patreon or just give us money so we can go to Pac Wars.
Need that hot tub. Listen, my bag's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah. All of the links for that will be in the description below. And thank you again, Blackspire, for coming on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube or Spotify to get notified about new episodes. And make sure to follow us on Facebook for announcements and more.